Hello and welcome back to Yuzu View. So today I'm going to repot this really sad boxwood, variegated boxwood. This was given to me by somebody else that didn't like how sad it was looking. I was hoping I could do something to it. My number one thing would of course be this is in way too large a pot to show off the plant. So if you look at it, that is a massive pot for a tiny plant. So it makes the plant really unimpressive. It makes it just not a bonsai, really. Of course, the other big thing would be it's really flopped over, so I'm gonna have to try and see what I want to do about that. So I'm gonna put it in a pot and see I'm gonna take it out of the pot and see what's going on with that too. And then of course decide on a pot that you're gonna use. So you want one of the things that I see not talked about that often is not just pot size, but pot color, pot shape. Pot size is of course important, as you can see. That just does not look impressive. It's just tiny inside a huge pot. So size is going to be an important choice. That's why I have a few out here. Color and shape will also matter because it'll depend on what you're going to do with this plant. I think I see what they were going for because it is wired. That maybe they were going to plan on eventually making it sweep off the side, which might not be a bad idea, but it's not going to look good right now. So let's get to work on a little quick repotting on this plant, see what we can do. So a couple of choices we have. I have this little dude. It's $5. Nice cheap pot. Might kind of work size-wise. Much better if I want to go for that sweeping off the side look. I've got kind of a more normal pot here. It's pretty nice. Very, very used. $15 pot. All right. Got this guy. No, this is a $20 pot for some weird reason, but it's nice. And then I've got little tiny pots, which I maybe will think about. It could work. So, but I want to see what the root system looks like. But this little guy, or if I want to go real crazy, I could try something like this, which might be interesting, or nah, that's not gonna work. I mean, it could be neat, but this would have to be for inside. It'll blow over every 2 seconds out here. There's even this, maybe, and I think I don't know. So let's see what the root system looks like in this thing, and we'll go from there. So step one, I'm actually going to empty out my bin here. So I use this bin for multiple things. Obviously, one of the things is to keep control of all of my tools and items, things like that. But the other thing I like to use it for is when I do this, when I dump this out and see what's going on inside. So what I want to do is I can reuse this. There's no reason to dump it into the grass. I can reuse these rocks. They're not bad. So I don't need to get rid of them. So let's see what we got going on here. Well, first off, the wires are probably left some marks down here. They've been on for a while. Almost definitely left marks over here. So I'll have to look at the wiring. Get rid of some of these weeds. There we go. All right. So let's see what we got going on here. One of my favorite tools, one of the few that I say you really, really should buy, is this root rake with some tweezers on the other end. This is important to get, and these are really nice to have. If you want to go up to the next size, once you start getting to larger bonsai, this is pretty important. But honestly, 1, 2, 3, done. You can do almost anything you need with these items. The last things are not even really bonsai items for when you start wiring, right? Obviously you have to buy wire, and that would of course entail cutting the wire. But this is not a bonsai tool, it's just a wire cut. So really, that's all you really need to start up on some bonsai. So let's see what we got going on here. So right now I'm just trying to carefully loosen this up because it wasn't going to come right out. You're not going to turn that right upside down and hope that it falls out. There we go. It's actually got a lot more roots on it than I thought. Wow. Okay. So it's not in really bad health. It's not too bad. And I like these little roots here, so I do kind of want, I think I will keep it at an angle, but I think the angle is a little too harsh. The original angle was more like that, just flat. So I think if it was more upright like this, it would look a little better, still showing off these roots. You could even make that might even be the front. Just take this off maybe, but not right away. So I'm not going to do any trimming. First off, it's a little bit late in the spring. I don't really want to do it right now, and also I just repotted it, so I'm not going to double down on this thing and do as much trauma to it as possible. So repotting is traumatic enough. I probably should cut some of these roots. I feel bad doing it, but you know, but it's got a nice root ball. So I'm actually kind of happy. I'm surprised. I really thought this was going to be a rotted out mess, but it's pretty healthy considering how questionably healthy the top is. So now, what kind of pot? So my first thought was one of these. I still think it looks kind of like just a plant in a pot. But the colors kind of work. So that's not bad. If I do some trimming, that could actually look really good. More the correct size for the plant. See, now you start getting what could kind of be a bonsai instead of just some sad little sapling stuck in a giant pot. So that's a possibility, actually. Let's see if I want to get real crazy. That'd take a lot of cutting. I don't know if I want to do that to this poor guy. Although that does look nice. Off to the side like that looks kind of nice. But, I think that might be a little bit better. So maybe I could get away with not trying to repot it either. So, next, a little bit of brutality. In fact, let's do this instead. Okay. A little bit more, but not bad. I don't want to go too crazy. Now, the nice thing about boxwood is that they reroot really fast. So you can be pretty brutal with a boxwood, and all of a sudden the roots just explode. So pretty much what happens is when it takes damage, it just skyrockets into full growth. So, all right, there we go. All right, so I think that's looking pretty good. I have a lot of room for more root growth. I don't want to do too much damage to it because it is a weakened specimen, but I think that'll work. Is there a front to this? Yeah, there is. So I want to do it this way. Another good thing to check out. There's artwork on one side. So now, since I'm not going to do any pruning, I'm just going to try and get it to look as good as I can for now. So I think that. All right. So before we get it in here, one of the most important things, removing a price tag and blocking up the hole. I already preset that, so what I do, and what is normal, it's not just me, you take a little piece of this plastic kind of netting and cut it. I have, obviously comes from larger pieces, you cut it to shape, and then you just take some extra wire that I used this on something else, and you know, I don't need it anymore, so I'm reusing it. No reason to waste brand new wiring. All right, then you jam it in there. Nice and tight, because you don't want it to come loose. And then on the inside, you're just gonna flatten out the extra wire. There we go. There. So now you got that to protect the hole so everything doesn't come falling out. Okay, so once you have this thing in, protecting the hole in the bottom. You want a drain hole, of course, but you don't want to drain all the media out of the bottom. So once you've got that on, the next step is you get yourself another wire. And I'm going to see if I have any... Nah, not looking too good. Maybe. Nah, a little better than that. Ah, here we go. Nice piece of... No reason to waste it. Alright. Now what this wire is going to do is you're going to use it to hold the plant into your pot. So, the best way to go about it, in my opinion anyway, is start from this end. I see people go the other way and go through here, but I found that to be really, really hard. So it could just be that I'm dumb or I'm lazy, but I prefer doing it this way. Alright, so once you've got this other wire through here, there we go. Stretch that out. There. Now, we're set to put our plant in. So first, a little bit of media on the bottom. Yeah, medium. Alright, then remember which side you want your plant, which way you want your plant facing. You want to make sure it's facing in a way that makes you enjoy the best view. In this case, for me, like that. Then I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to tie down this tiny little shrub. So that it doesn't fall out or blow out or collapse. There we go. So all I did was just twist the wire around itself. But now, the plant's not going anywhere. See? There you go. So now it's got some support. Now it's just kind of rearranging it a little bit because the wire has obviously put some weight in different locations. Rearrange. There we go. Alright, and then top it off. There we go. Once you get to this point, you can, of course, tap it down with your fingers, and I like to use a little spatula, or one of these is good, and you kind of shake it. Push a little bit. You're not trying to jam it in as hard as you can, but you're putting a little weight on it, and you're kind of shaking a little bit. So I just kind of wiggle a little bit through the stone. There we go. You're trying to get in, you know, fairly tight, but you're also not trying to compact it into solid brick. And now, I'm also trying to keep areas I want seen clear, so that nice little root thing that I told you about at the top, I want to have some of the top part of the root showing over here, so I clear some of that rock. Grab a little more of our medium. Same thing, wiggle it into position. There we go. And just a little bit up front. Clear this again. And just position stuff around so you make sure you get it how you want it. Because, yes, there are, of course, rules. It's an art form. But unless you're trying to sell it, The most important thing is that you enjoy looking at it. So there we go. So that looks a lot better. I mean, it's still tiny. It's going to be a long time before it's anything super impressive, but at least now it's not a tiny stick in a gigantic container. It actually fits the size. So now we have this nice container, a little bit of art on the front to kind of help accentuate it a little. Kept it at a kind of an angle. Right? This is what I'd be considering the front, which means that I will eventually want to remove this branch right here, because one of those rules that actually is pretty important to the look of something is that you don't want branches heading right towards the viewer. So if this is the front, that's going the wrong way. I should remove it. I'll wait, give it some time to recover, gain some more energy, and then maybe I'll start clipping it later. You can kind of clip boxwood whenever you feel like it. Just depends on the health of the boxwood, and you know, I wouldn't do it right before winter necessarily, but you know, you can go with it. It will grow back really quickly. Next, I got to look at this wiring. So first, all right. So what do I want to do here? So this wiring's not grown in, and I do kind of like the idea of this branch doing something a little more interesting. So now if I just gently maneuver it a bit, there we go. Maybe away, be a better idea. There we go. And then this branch looks like it's growing a bit into the wire, so I should just remove that one. Yeah. So now you guys got to get this out. I'll check though. If it's not showing through, I might just rewire it. But I think it's growing in. Let's see. Yeah, it is. Okay. So just carefully untwist the wire. Alright, and gotta be gentle at this point. With the roots, you don't have to worry as much. You don't have to be as crazy gentle. If you pop off some roots or whatever, that's fine. For this plant, some plants are really sensitive about their roots. Let's say pretty much all like junipers and things like that. You want to be more gentle with the root system. With a boxwood, no problem. Boxwoods almost take it as a challenge. The only reason I consider being gentle up top like this is because yes, it will recover. A boxwood can handle damage, but why damage it if I don't need to? And this is way more visual. If I lose a couple roots, no one's going to notice, but if I break off branches or a lot of leaves, somebody's going to notice. So there you go. And it's not bad. With maybe a season of growing, you're not going to see there's a little bit of a twisty shape in the wood down here, but not bad. Let's see about this one. That one's not grown in at all. So now, what do I want to do with that? I really kind of want this to be more down. There we go. Now, what about this one? This is the other one that, ooh. Yeah, that's really not, that's a little too much. Let's see. Yeah, and that's a leader right there, so I don't really want that to be too traumatized, so I'm gonna undo this guy. This has obviously been in there for, I mean, if I had to guess, at least one full growing season without being removed. And that's not pleasant. You gotta think it's like if you wear size, I don't know, 34 jeans and somebody puts you in size 30. You just gotta wear that. Alright. There we go. Alright. This is definitely not one of my prize bonsai, but it's nicer now. So you can see the big difference. So we started off in a ridiculously huge container. It is a nice container, aside from a crack in it, but it's a nice container. And I'm actually going to dump rip all that out and use that later. But this definitely fits it better. It looks a little bit nicer. This needs some trimming. Right now it's really just a bush sitting in this thing. I definitely want to trim this, and this one, or at least wire this one. If I wired that one that way, it might be nice. Trim that one. Probably trim this little guy. So I've got at least 4 made, easy choice cuttings, and then see about cleaning up some of this so you get more branching. But otherwise it's pretty nice. And somebody has already, I don't think it was my friend, clipped out the main grower. So this really, it's up to you now. Just kind of control where these go. You're not going to get the lead going up as bad. So, now it's just thickening this up. All right, but there you go. So that turned out pretty good. Not a bad day, and not a whole lot of work, as you can see. Just remember, the number one important thing is size of pot has to match size of plant, otherwise it's going to look ridiculous. Number 2, shape, color. It's nice if they somehow accentuate the plant, help the plant in some way instead of going off against it. Most of these I think would have been okay. I mean, I would have really liked this one, just because it kind of works with some of the color, the off color of the leaves, but this is still a little too big. I didn't like how that was going to look. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I don't have 1,000 pots laying around, but I think this turned out good. So hopefully that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I can always answer them. It's a fairly simple one. But we're going to do another one in just a second, and I'll put that video up as well. So from Yuzu View, see you soon.